All right, hello everybody. Welcome back once again. We're going to do a little bit of talking today. It's kind of late. It's actually like 12:16 a.m. on a Saturday night. It's Sunday morning actually. And I was going to do one of these earlier, but we got asked to go out to dinner with Angie B's with her with her family. And I said, sure, okay. I was going to record, but, like I said, I went out. And we can't do it tomorrow because we are going out to the Children's Museum with all the kids. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good old time tomorrow. So between that and tomorrow is WrestleMania, I still have a little bit of entertainment stuff that I do. No matter how, no matter how messed up all this stuff is for us, I still have a little bit of entertainment. It seems like it seems like with wrestling, there's there's still that subversion, that subversion that just messed up kind of thing to it. You can see it a little bit better than if you're just watching TV. Um, I mean, we've seen a lot of shows, and I've been able to just see, not only the plot, but the numbers and the imagery and the symbols, and you can see it, and I pointed out so much to the point that sometimes Angie's just like, look, you got to stop. I can't, you're ruining the show. And I'm like, well, I see it. It's there. I see all this stuff. But with wrestling, I mean, you can see it, but it's not so much in your face. I mean, it's not constant over and over and over. Even though, man, they push a heavy agenda sometimes. I'll tell you what. Um, there's little things. There's little things here and there that you can see it. You can see the I almost said you can see the Illuminati, but you can see the Illuminati. No, you can see it. It's there, and I mean, it's all a part of it. It's not like it's dripping in it, but it's. Sometimes they have some, man. Sometimes they have some crazy messed up storylines that just make you sit back and go, what is that telling us as a society that such and such can get away with this? Great example was a pay per view they had what was it, about 2 or 3 months ago, and it was it was something like all the heels won, and they won by really messed up ways. And of course, the big thing about it, there was also a one of the commentators had cheated on his wife, and when the girl that he cheated with came out, it wasn't really addressed, but then he's like fawning all over this other girl, and you're just, God, that's sick, and it just, that whole pay-per-view just kind of proved that you can get away with the most despicable things in the world and no one's going to say anything about it. And there were, like I said, there was other storylines and stuff in it that just kind of, I just looked at it and I was just like, what is this telling us? It's just wrong. I feel dirty. So I mean, it's a little bit of back and forth, but I can give up Disney. I can give up Disney. I can give up, man. I can give up Marvel movies. I can. I can give up Marvel movies. I can give up television shows. I can give up all that stuff. But wrestling, I can watch because it's like I said, it's not like completely subversive. I'm sure eventually, sooner or later, they're gonna hit us with something crazy, and I'm gonna be like, mother puss bucket, I can't watch this anymore. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen eventually, and I'm just gonna be like, we can't watch this. We got to watch something else. I think that's why we've been watching a lot of we've been watching a lot of older cartoons. You'll have to forgive me. There's been a lot of noise outside the house. I just saw a weird car parked next door at our neighbor's house, and I don't think it's anything. I really don't think it's anything. I don't think it's anything bad. Uh, they sometimes keep weird hours, and every now and then they'll have somebody strange come over. And this car didn't seem like it was doing anything too weird, but it's just I don't know. It's just weird things cause for worrying what's going on. And we've had a lot of guys coming through the neighborhood thumping radios, stereos that I've never heard before. And I'm just like, who was that? Because most of the guys you hear them go through. It's like, oh yeah, that's such and such, or oh yeah, that's the other guy. But I've heard a lot of new ones today, and I'm just like, who in the heck is coming through our neighborhood? Plus, it's gotten warmer, so we've started seeing a lot of the new people that have moved in over the past couple months, and I'm seeing a lot of new faces I've never seen before, and it's not really worrying me so much as it's like, who the hell are these people? I don't know. But yeah, if you happen to see me stop and like listen to something, it's because I'm hearing something. So. But that's been our weekend. That's the whole wrestling thing and then that, and so I figured I would do this before I go to sleep. It's not going to be a long thing. We're just going to talk a little bit. Um, just some things that I've been thinking about having to get them off my chest. Before we go any further, I always like to preface everything by saying that you don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to. You don't even have to listen to me. You don't have to go along with it. You don't have to do any of it. I'm just talking. I'm trying to get this stuff out of my head to try to make sense of it all. And because the journey that I've had that has led me to God came from YouTube videos, came from people that were just speaking their mind. Sorry if you can hear me sniffing. I figure maybe it might be able to help somebody else. So, that's why I do this. That's why I sit here and we talk. We talk about stuff. So, like I said, you don't have to believe it if you want to. If you choose to believe it, you probably already believe it anyways. Um, it's just a lot of noise. Just a lot of car doors, man. I don't know. I guess maybe it's because it's warm. People are going out and partying. I guess I don't know. I really don't know. This is gonna look weird. Sorry, I had to do that. All right, so some of the things that have come up over the past couple weeks, the way the Lord has been leading me over the past couple weeks has been towards prophecy. Now, I haven't really covered too much prophecy, especially biblical prophecy. What's that? Oh, that's just Angie. I haven't really covered too much of that in what I talk about. Is she going to the bathroom? Yeah, she's going to the bathroom. All right, but I've had it on the back. I've had it on the back of my mind for a while, but I haven't really gone through it. So I've been kind of been directed towards that over the past week, and I can't sit here and tell you, oh yeah, well in the book of Daniel it says yada yada yada, and then the book of Revelation it says yada yada yada. I'm not that well versed in it. I can tell you I can tell you certain things that, I've heard over and over again. Sorry, I got something in my eye. It sucks. I can tell you certain things that I've heard over and over again, but I am no Bible scholar by any stretch of the imagination. But there are some things that have come up, some stuff that I've talked about before, and there's been some things that people have talked about recently that I've kind of stopped and looked at and said, okay, maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something we need to talk about. Maybe we should look into it. So I'm not going to cover too much of this. We're just going to kind of talk about it. And if you don't know any of this stuff, please by all means go look it up, because I don't really do like presentation stuff. I mean, it's just me sitting here talking. Most of the times I have stuff written down on little notepads that I get from work. That's like, oh yeah, and I got to write that stuff down, and so I can go over it later, and all that nonsense. So a lot of the things I've been hearing about lately have been these Noahide laws. Now, from what I can understand, I haven't delved too deep into this. I'm still looking at giants. I'm still looking at you know in the days of Noah and stuff like that. What's going to be coming. What exactly it's going to be that our hearts fear, or our hearts fail for fear of what's coming on the earth. Um, which is actually interesting because I was just listening to Deuteronomy, and I think it was a couple of days ago, and they were talking about the giants. They were talking about the different tribes that these guys went out and fought and all that, and they were talking about the size of these guys, and there was something I had heard, and I didn't write it down. I wish I had wrote it down, but they had said something along the lines, something similar to their hearts had failed for fear of what they were seeing. And they were talking about the people of these tribes that they were having to fight. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think I am, because I remember hearing it and I didn't have a chance to write it down because I was working. But it was like that was the connection to the line in Revelation where it says men's hearts will fail for fear of what is coming on. And I was like, they just tied men's hearts failing over giants to men's hearts failing over what's coming on. And I was like, there it is. It was one of those like revelation moments where it was like, oh man, that was it. That was the one I was looking for. So I was like, wow, it impressed me. It really did. It impressed something on me, and it kind of led me down into this other stuff that was happening. Guy said these Noahide laws. Apparently, they're Jewish laws. Um, they're basically something like the seven laws that Noah had apparently gotten from God after the flood, and they're not the worst laws in the world. I mean, on the surface, it's like it's the nice stuff. It's not the Ten Commandments, but it's fairly decent stuff. Like don't blaspheme against God, don't kill each other, don't do stupid crap. Those kinds of things. But they, if taken in a certain context, like if they were strictly enforced, if you blaspheme against God, whose ever God that is, you could possibly be put to death over this. And apparently that has something to do with the Talmud, which the more I hear about it, the worse it gets. Again, I don't know. I haven't read it. I don't know. I hear some of the stuff that's inside of that, and I'm like, wow. So it was an interesting thing, and I've heard, like I said, I've heard a couple of different things, but it just hasn't really sunk in yet. I haven't really looked into it. But they were talking about how these Noahide laws could remove the Ten Commandments because supposedly the country is based upon the Ten Commandments in the Torah, which is the Ten Commandments of Noah, or not Noah, Moses. Wow. The Ten Commandments came from Moses, that came from God, that we are supposed to follow. That's the law. It's apparently what it is. The law says these Ten Commandments, yada, yada, yada. That I still am 50-50 on whether or not we're supposed to scrap all that for just the two commandments that Jesus gave us in the New Testament, or if we follow that law. There's some people say that we're supposed to follow the Torah. There's some people say that Jesus washed all that away. I haven't really been compelled either way. I'm slowly being compelled to, like I said, every time I start listening to something, I get pulled down a certain path. I ask God to give me the wisdom every day, and He pulls me down one path, and then He'll throw me a curveball, and then it leads me on to something different. That's how it works. And when I hear something that just doesn't seem right or doesn't feel right, I have to write it down and then go look it up for myself. And then I have to ask, is this something I need to look at? This stuff isn't really something that I feel compelled to really, really look at. It's been something that's moved into my mental space, and maybe I will start looking at it as we go. I don't know. But I've been compelled to talk about it, so we're going to talk about it. Like I said, we're just sitting here doing this because I can't wrap my head around it. But the one thing that did plug into my mind was, so these Noahide laws, which from what I understand, they've been somewhat written into the laws of the United States. Something about something in the 1900s where 1900s. You hear me? Wow, the 1990s. Holy crap! I guess George W. decided he got together with some Israelites or something and signed these into like an act or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. And they're kind of already in place. They were talking about the laws, the basic laws that the United States could follow. And I've heard more and more that, these Noahide laws could be like this one world religion. We are moving towards a one world religion. If you don't believe that, then you obviously have not been reading your Bible very well. One of the things it says in Revelation is that the Antichrist, when he comes, not only will he have power to rule the world, the entire world, everyone, but he will also have the ability to make everybody worship this Antichrist. That's one world government, and that's one world religion. People don't seem to understand that's exactly what that means. If you have one person that rules the world, and if you have one person that this world is supposed to worship, that's a one world religion, that's a one world government. That is just the way it is. That's the way it works. And we already know that the Pope in the Vatican he's already getting all these religions on board. They're already talking about one world, all this and all that, and we already know the New World Order is already marching forward as if they cannot be stopped, and the UN is going to be right on top of it. And of course, everybody's talking about a one world currency, which they are already, talking about the mark of the beast, which you could only be able to buy and sell if you have the mark of the beast. Yeah, I find it amazing that no one has bothered to read the last book of the Bible when it comes to all this crap. It blows my mind, especially the ones that claim that they're Christian. They're like, it's like, have you not read the book? Do you not understand what you are stepping into, what you're moving towards? It boggles the mind. It doesn't really boggle the mind because I know why. I know why. We know why. Because the system it's all rigged. It's absolutely all rigged. It's been rigged since the very beginning. We never knew until recently this grand awakening that's happening, that we're all waking up to it. Or well, some of us are waking up to it. We're trying to wake others up to it. That it's happening. It's moving. It's it's coming whether you like it or not, and people just seem to want it. People are like, "Oh yes, give us everything you can give us because we want it because it's going to be so good." And guess what, guys? That's in the Bible too. That people would ask for it. That things would become so bad that the people would want it to come to them. It's in the book. The Bible predicted all of this, and I never listened. I never listened until I think it's probably too bright. Yeah, that's better. I never listened to any of this stuff until my eyes were being opened, and it's now that I see it, I'm like, dude, this is so nuts. It's so crazy, and we are so close to the end. It's insane how close to the end we are at this point. So these Noahide laws could be this one world government or one world religion. It could actually be part of the one world government too, because like I said, they were talking about these 7 laws being the 7 commandments that people could live by. That you would go through like this, and because we know we can't trust anybody to have these laws, they could make these little caveats here and there when it comes to these laws that, if you don't follow it this way, then we could cut off your head and do this, we could kill you, we could imprison you, whatever, we could do whatever. And it's kind of messed up. And so the one thing that came to my mind was it's removing the 10 Commandments. I heard that and I said, it's removing the 10 Commandments. And the guy that I was listening to, I can't remember his name. It was on SG. No, it wasn't SG Report. It was on. Oh crap! Was it Now You See TV? Maybe. No, that was something else. One of the other YouTube channels. But the guy was talking about him, and he said, this would in essence remove the 10 Commandments. It would take away the 10 Commandments from our laws that we have now. And I was like, it snapped into my head. I was like, well, that would explain why they're removing all the 10 Commandments from outside of all these courthouses. Bing! And I was like, oh shit, that's right. They are removing the 10 Commandments from out front of all of the. I mean, it's not just because of Baphomets either. It's not just because they want to put friggin' statues of Satan in front of these damn buildings. They are removing them because people don't think that, people want to get rid of these religious doctrines. And I was like, oh, crap, that's right. That's what they're doing. They are getting rid of the 10 Commandments. But I mean, they don't have to be trying to move this thing in, but it makes the most sense, Sooner or later, you just see the pieces, you see the puzzle pieces, and you're just like, oh, dude, come on, man. But that popped into my head. They are literally removing these things out front of courthouses, out front of schools, and out front of, towns. I remember there was a town, was it Belglade? I don't think it was Belglade. I don't think it was Moorhaven either, because they wouldn't have had room in Moorhaven. Some city in Florida that we used to pass by, they used to have the 10 Commandments on a billboard out in front of the city. You pass it every day. The thing had been there since the 1940s, 19 whatever the hell it was, 1940s, 1950s, and it was old. And they'd repaint it every other year or so, and it was a big thing. And I I never really thought about it. Now I'm thinking about it, and it's like that's right. They're removing these things. They're getting. It wasn't. It was at the same time whenever they were doing the whole, well, let's get rid of every single Civil War statue ever. I mean, they weren't even just killing the Confederate statues. These guys were tearing down the Union statues too. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, are you serious? You're getting rid of every statue. You don't even know what you're pulling down. You're pulling down statues because you think that Civil War all the way around was a terrible thing, but it's like you don't even know what you're pulling down. But at the same time they were doing that, they were pulling down all these other, all the Ten Commandments and the other stuff like that, and I was just like, I get that people don't want to see it, fine. But then you started hearing that they wanted to, instead of the Ten Commandments, we want to put a Baphomet statue out in front with these two little kids that are sitting there, Google eyeing a fucking Satan. And I'm just like, ugh, you're killing me with this. You just, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So that popped into my head, and I was like, man, seriously. So of course, this guy was talking about in the he was saying something about I can't remember if it was in Jesus or if Jesus had said it, if it was in Jesus, if Jesus had said it, or if it was in Peter or something. I wish I would have wrote it down. This is me and my bad note taking. But he were saying part of the prophecy was is that the Antichrist would try to change times and the laws of God. The times referring to festivals, which I always thought the times just meant like literal times. Like, I've said before, we've had this conversation before, is how do we know what month it is? How do we know what day it is? Do we really know what day it is? They could make this stuff up. We're talking about changing the Sabbath days. We're talking about changing the months, changing the years. We don't know because we've just been told what day it is. We've been told what month it is. It's I know for a fact it's Sunday morning. It's 12:44 on Sunday morning. It could be Tuesday, or what we call it Tuesday. We don't know if it could have a completely different name. And I know that it's April 7th, but it may not be April 7th. We don't know. We know what the sun does. We know what equinoxes are. We know all this stuff. We know when spring is supposed to start, but we don't know. There's no way to know. And I always thought that when they would come around about changing times and things like that, that's what I thought they meant. Was they're changing times. You could take that literally. That they literally make us lose an hour for daylight savings time. I'm not kidding on that one either. That's literally changing time. I've said it before. I've said it before. Everything inside of the Bible can be taken three ways: literally, spiritually, and metaphorically. So that's literally changing times. Not that I'm saying that's the ultimate end all be all, but I mean I think the trinity of the three ways of looking at it also work, and there's a trinity of three ways that it happens. You know, changing times is in calendars. Changing times is literally as in hours and days, and changing the dates of festivals that we're supposed to worship the Lord. See, changing the Sabbath, that falls into those categories. It's amazing when you sit and you run it through your head, and it's like, oh yeah, man, that's just so messed up. It's so messed up. It's such a perfectly messed up system. And one of the reasons why I even one of the reasons I even came into all this, why one of the reasons why I started following the Bible was not only the fact that it talked about all this stuff and as it happens like this, but the Bible was the only one that I can't remember what I was going to say now. I don't know why my brain just decided to die out on me. Lord, help me with this. Please, clear my mind of all stupidity and all evils that may be trying to control me and trying to keep me from speaking the truth of your word, Lord. Um, but the reason it brought me to this was because of the pure evil of the world. Because once you see one lie and then you stack another lie on top of it, it's like, okay, well, human beings are just kind of evil. It just happens that way. Then I saw another one, and I saw another one, and I saw another one, and it kept stacking. And the one thing that I saw, the one thing that was shown to me that but way before I even started reading the Bible, before I even started really understanding, was that's evil. This is not good. This is evil. And the fact that this puzzle piece and this puzzle piece and this puzzle piece go together perfectly, and none of these puzzle pieces could possibly in a million years connect. Not only that, but there is a numerical value that happens between these three puzzle pieces that works out perfectly. I said, that's not real. That can't happen. That's not possible in this physical realm. I can't even I because I write short stories. I used to write short stories. I would write out the plot, way in advance. I would say, this is the thing, something's going to happen here, and then this is how it's going to end. Not in my wildest dreams, not in anybody's wildest dreams that I could even remotely think of, could I think that this, and this could fit together so perfectly to where you could pull out these numerical values of the dates of the people that were born, the gematria of their names, the date that it happened, the exact time that it happened, the fact that certain numbers keep popping up here and there, and because this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, leads to that. I said that's not real. That can't be human made. That's something far more supernatural than I could ever even remotely put my finger on. And that's what led me to the Bible, because it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. It's mind-boggling. It really is. And you may think that it's either looking too far into it, or your brain is so fried that you would believe anything, and that's your belief. You can believe whatever you want to about it. I can't change your mind. You have to change your mind. But I saw it. I saw it, and I said, you can't do this. There's no human being in the world that could pull this together. So I said, you know what? It's not just man's evil. Men are evil. I understand that. Men do the worst, most evil, disgusting things in the world. But I said, there's some other intelligence. There's some other something that happens on top of that makes this happen, that just, whew, doggy. It's nuts. That's nuts. And it changed my entire way of thinking. It really did. And then, like I said, I started listening to people explain what the Bible said. I started reading the Bible. I was listening to the Bible at work, digging into stuff that I let God tell me what to dig into. and it started falling into place more and more and more, and it just makes to me all this evil makes sense because they've done it. They've worked and worked and worked no matter how long it would take them. They made it work, through generations of families. They tried to make this through, and the evil just continued, and it just took over. And then it got worse as I started delving into, all these different gods. That all these gods are the same thing. All these gods, they did the same thing. They were they gave humans the exact same abilities. The stuff that we're told that the fallen angels had given us. And you started seeing all of these symbols start popping up, and you saw all these different numbers, and it just I can't be crazy. I can't be crazy. I don't know how many times I've said that to myself, as I've seen it. I said, I can't be crazy. I may be crazy. And there was a point where I started cracking, where my mind started cracking. I mean, it was before the Mandela effect stuff too, because I already said, when I started getting into the Mandela effect stuff, that cracked my mind in half, because by that point I couldn't really trust anything. And then, once I started getting into that, it was like, I'm done. That's it. Cracked me in half. I said, Lord, please, God, deliver me from this, because I can't go on anymore. It got really bad. But when I started seeing, I said, I can't be crazy. I have to be able to see this. Somebody else has to have seen this connection. And sure enough, there were people out there. There were other people out there that were seeing it. People that had been seeing it for years before I ever saw it. I couldn't even imagine. And I was like, it's been there this entire time. We just never knew. And so now I'm just like, now all I can do is try to express it. And if somebody can hear this, if somebody can hear it, and if it can resonate with you, the truth will always resonate with you, then let it please, dear God, let it please resonate with you, so that you can understand it, and you can have your eyes open, so that you could possibly make the turn. Make the turn with this, because if you cannot open your eyes to this, if you choose to be a part of the world, or be of the world, then it will eat you alive. It will swallow you whole, and there's nothing I can do for it. I want to save you, man. I want to say, whoever is watching this, I want to save you the way I have been saved. It's an amazingly beautiful feeling. And people, there have been so many people that I talk to that say, "Man, you've changed. Your outlook's changed. Your glow and energy has changed." And I said, "Man, I saw the light. I suddenly saw the light. It's a completely different thing, and I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it anymore. We are meant to go through this world without fear, because God is behind us. Because we have the power to move mountains as long as we have faith, and I do not fear this world anymore. There are times where my faith wavers, and I try to pull it back together. I do. I admit that. There are times when my spirit wavers, and that's on me. That's, I still do stupid things. I still have bad thoughts, but I still ask God to fix it, to fix me, to keep fixing me, to never give up on me, because I think he understands I definitely want to change. Because I can't be a part of this world anymore. This world is just it's too rotten and evil, and we've talked about that before. Now that you're awake, would you ever want to be put back in the machine? It's like, no, I can't do that. I can't be put back in the machine. It's nasty. It's dirty. I can feel the filth. I could just feel the filth and the evilness of it all. It's just it permeates everything. It's disgusting. It's like some days I can feel the house just feels dirty. Please, Lord Jesus, cleanse this house. Cleanse this house. Cleanse this basement right now. Please, Lord. Come down and cleanse this place. Cleanse my body. Cleanse my spirit. Right now while I talk. So that I don't feel the evil permeating this place. Please, dear Lord. Put a wall around our house. Keep the evils out of this place. Please, dear God. And I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders. I really did. I really did. It there's something to it. I was watching something today too where they were saying, when the time comes when we will be persecuted for not wanting to give up our love and belief of Jesus Christ, because that will happen. Because when this antichrist system comes into being, when this one world religion comes into being, there will be no room for Christianity. There will be no room for people that believe in Jesus. And it was asking, you know, should we just go like lambs to the slaughter, the way that, Christianity is taught? Because we're supposed to supposedly turn the other cheek and, just be pacifists. And I don't believe that. The way that I read "turn the other cheek," because I heard it and I heard somebody else say it as well. That you know, when they say, if someone strikes you, turn the other cheek so that they may strike that one as well. In the context of that, a little bit before that, it was saying something like, we have nothing to fear from the people that want to harm us, that we can turn the other cheek so that they may strike us. If someone were to take from us, give them more of it, because your reward in heaven is better than anything on earth. And I was like, that doesn't mean that you just have to take it. Of course, not the last part, but the whole turn the other cheek. I was like, that doesn't mean you just have to take it. That means you give them the other cheek, because whatever they do to you is not going to harm you. That's what it means. It makes the most sense. It's like, if anything evil tries to hurt you, whatever, man, hit me again. Shoot me again. I ain't dead yet, because they can't hurt me. They can't hurt you, because you are in the spirit of the Lord. You are part of His love and His glory. That you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to be hurt. It's going to be like, dude, come on, hit me again. It ain't nothing. And the guy was saying, instead of all these movies and all this other kind of stuff where you see that, Christians are just lining up to get their heads cut off, this like, oh, look, the Antichrist is here. Okay, here we go. Take me in. I'm ready to go. And instead of just rounding us up and putting us into concentration camps, we're supposed to fight, because the Antichrist makes war with the saints. The Antichrist makes war with those that believe in Christ. And I was like, dude, that's what it says. We are not supposed to fear. That we walk with God through this, and you get hit, you turn the other cheek because you're gonna be able to withstand whatever he has. Now, granted, the Antichrist overpowers the saints in the end, and when that happens, that's whenever Jesus comes back and the whole, you know, everything blows up and all the other stuff. So, I don't even know if it's a blow up. There's people saying that Armageddon, apocalypse, actually means a grand reawakening, a mental reawakening, a spiritual reawakening. I don't know, but I was like, oh man, we don't have to be scared. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared. I haven't been afraid to die in a long time, and before I just thought it was suicidal, but it's not. I realized now that back then it was because I'm not part of this world. I don't love this world. Even though this world has given me all these fancy toys, these fancy video games, and these fancy books, and the fancy computer, and all this stuff. Even though the world has given me all this, the Lord has given me all this, and I thank Him for the time that He's given me all this, because there's something in this that has made me me. I guess I don't know. It's all just stuff, but it has helped to bring me to this point. I guess I don't know what to say about it, because you hear about the kings, you know King David, King Solomon, King what was the one? I can't think of his name right now, but all those guys, all the kings that he gave them riches and wealth and all this stuff. And a lot of people like to say, well, he also gave them like a million wives too. I was like, yeah, I don't know how to decipher that. I really don't know how to decipher that stuff. But that he gave these guys all this stuff because they believed. And I look at this stuff and I'm like, but I wasn't really believing, man. Some of this stuff came whenever I was living my worst life possible. You know, I look at it and I think, man, some of this stuff is borderline evil. Even though I've gotten rid of not all the evil stuff, but I've gotten rid of a chunk of evil stuff. I've got a lot more to get rid of. I'm throwing stuff away. I am. I'm literally throwing stuff away that I'm just like, no, I don't need this. I can't. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell it to somebody else because I don't want them to have it either. You know, and that may sound ridiculous. Somebody may hear that and be like, why don't you just sell it, man? You get the money out of it. That's a collector's item, man. You could probably get money. No, no, that's evil. I don't want that evil in this world. If I could burn it, I'd burn it. But I will say it right now. I haven't wanted to say it because to me it feels like bragging. Um, the true evil, one of the big evils I've had for a long time has been porn. I'll admit that I grew up in a time where you had to buy porn on videotapes. I had a lot, man. Magazines, videotapes, a lot of other stupid crap. I've gotten rid of it. One day I just decided, why not? Whatever. Um, I had some signs, and I found the box. I found the box for the Ouija board. We found a Ouija board at a Goodwill outlet. One of those places where you can go in and buy things by the pound. One of those deals. We got it for super cheap. Full box. I think it was from the 70s. And I used it. I hung it up on the wall for a long time. I don't know where it is. So the board is still in the house. I want it out of my house. I don't know where it is. I I want it out of my house. I got rid of the box. But we still have a Ouija board. I still have tarot cards. I need to get rid of tarot cards too. We have tarot cards I want to get rid of. Um just evil stuff, man. Now granted, 75% of everything I have in this room can be considered evil. Um and if I'm compelled to do that, if I'm convicted to do that, because that's what it felt like. It was a conviction to get rid of these things. The Lord He convicted me. He compelled me. He convicted me to come home one day and just say, "Fuck it. I'm just take it all, throw it in a trash bag, and get it the hell out of that." And that's what I did. I got it all out of the house. Um, I did not realize how much I had. You don't realize how much crap you have until you try to get rid of it. I knowing how much I paid for each individual tape, plus the magazines. I think the price I came up was something like $150, maybe more, probably more, probably more. Back in the day, tapes were expensive, man. They're like $15 a pop. There was a lot though. I feel better just by not having it, and I didn't want to say that because it feels like I'm bragging, and I don't want to be proud of it. I feel successful that I have overcome that part of my life, even though it's still there. Um, it it's always one it's always one button press away, and I'm purging hard drives too. There's hard drives. It's everywhere. I was a single man for a long time. It's not easy to get this stuff out of my house, but I'm doing it. But I needed to say that. It feels better to say it. It feels better to say that the Lord is compelling me to change. Slow. It's slow, but he's doing it, and every day there's something new where it's like, hey, why don't you go do this? Why don't you get rid of that? Why don't you drop this money off here? You don't need this money. Go give this money to somebody, which I've done. Even even whenever I was broke, didn't have any money to my name. It's like, oh hey, look, you just got $20 from someplace. Why don't you go drop it somewhere? I've done that. Within the past year, I've done that. I'm like, I just dropped $20 in that guy's bucket. The hell? It's compelling. It's what it is. It changes your life. It does. It changes your life, and that's what I asked him to do. I said, if it takes a second, let it take a second, but change me. That's what he's doing. It's filling me up. It's that old adage again, it's an empty glass, and inside of that empty glass it's all sin and evil, and all the crap of the world, and God is water, and He fills you up with His glory, and it pushes all that nastiness out. So that's what's been doing, and I've just felt better. I felt better. I really have. I've felt better. I've become a much better person. There are certain people that I've had problems with in the past that I still Our relationship is not perfect. I'm hoping it will be better. I'm hoping that we'll be able to, you know, understand each other better. It's been kind of hard to talk to these people. And, I can understand, if anyone doesn't want to talk to me because of the way that I existed in the past, I understand that because sometimes I was a dick. I understand that. Sometimes I was really a dick. Get the light just went away. There we go. So, anyways, I feel better saying that. It's almost like a second testimony for me. It's almost I need to remake my testimony video because it's things have changed so much within the past year. Things have just changed, and it's just I feel so much better. It's just such a relief, and hopefully this resonates with whoever's hearing this. If you can hear this, hopefully will resonate with you enough that you will at least stop and think about it. Because I never even thought about it. It never crossed my mind. It never did. If you would have told me 2 years ago that I'd be here, I would have said, "Hell no, man." Well, okay, not 2 years ago, because it's been 2 years since I came over. Let's just go for 4 years. If you would have said 4 years, I would have been like, "You're crazy. You got to be kidding me." Oh, maybe even 4 years. I don't know. It's been a slow process. He decided somewhere along the line. He said, "Look, God said, look, you're gonna change, and I'm gonna change you, and it's gonna be slow, and you're gonna think you're going crazy, but I'm gonna change you." And that's here we are. I'm changed. So, as far as the whole prophecy thing, the changing times, the changing the laws, of course, like I said, Noahide laws would be changing the laws because the laws are the Ten Commandments that we have now. And then, of course, changing times would be changing festivals or literally changing times. I don't know. You can take it any way you want. It's weird either way. The third thing I got written down here, of course, is the mark of the beast, because in addition to changing the laws and changing religions, you know, one world government and one world religion, there will be a one world currency, which you will only be able to use this one world currency if you take the mark of the beast and worship at the feet of the beast. Now, of course, some people, I've heard it so many different ways that I'm just like, what? It could be it could be something as simple as, the mark could be something in your forehead and in your hand. It could be, it's the way you do things, your mind, the way you think, and what your actions are. I've heard that. I've heard that before. And hey, man, that's a thing. It could be. You never know. It could be, the mark could be, what was the one that I heard? The actions could have something to do with the Sabbath. I don't remember exactly which that one was. I didn't understand that one too much, so it just kind of went off my head. It was weird too. I don't know. Some people say that it could be a figurative thing where it's like I said, it's how you think and what you do. Some people think it could be literal. If you take it literally, then there's a million different possibilities you could look at. The one that I like to do, the one that I like to think about. I haven't been able to use it yet, but I find it interesting. So a majority of the people, I think even left-handed people, some left-handed people still do it. They use it in their right hand. This is my right hand, even though it's reversed on my screen. This is my right hand. This is how I use my phone. So we already know there have been a couple people that have said that antenna. I think the antenna on these is up here. Could be down here, but I think the antenna might be up here. That wherever the antenna is, I don't know. I think somebody said it was up there. These things release electromagnetic energy, EMF waves, microwaves. These things are dangerous. There's a lot of people that are talking about that now. I'm starting to hear it now. My mom actually said something about it. Angie B finally saw the light, and she thinks these aren't the best thing in the world. I've tried to tell people, look, just put them away. We've been putting them on airplane mode as we've been sleeping. My Wi-Fi actually right now is off. I'm not pushing this to the internet because you know I'm just recording it as it is. My Wi-Fi is off, and it doesn't feel bad in here at all. I actually feel pretty nice. It could be a psychosomatic reaction because I know that the Wi-Fi is off. But when I go up and go to sleep, now, whenever it goes off, and I turn this thing on airplane mode, I sleep better. I sleep better. I sleep deeper. I have better dreams, and I sleep through the entire night. I wake up, roll over once, which is what I usually do. I constantly wake up at like 4:30 in the morning now. I'm trained to do that. But I don't even look at my clock anymore. I just wake up, roll over, and go back to sleep, which is nice. And I don't have that feeling of dread. It used to be when we used to go to sleep, we'd have everything on. I always felt like there was something going to happen. It just felt like I was constantly on edge. I was hearing a noise here, or there was something going on outside, and it was just constant, and I wasn't able to get to sleep very well. I'm not joking around. Now I can go to sleep. I go upstairs. I turn this on airplane mode. I lay down. If I'm not constantly thinking about something, then I'm out, and it's done. And I sleep through most of the night. I wake up in the morning, even though I feel like shit in the morning because I'm old. That's just become like a standard part of life. I don't feel like I'm dog ass tired all day. It's the truth. Whether you want to believe, you know, that's just me thinking that it's helping me, then hey, man, if it's because I think that it's helping me, then by God, I'm going to keep thinking this is helping me all day because it's such an amazing feeling. But if it's true that these things mess with your head, then this is a problem. These are problems. These are little electromagnetic field generators that screw with you. So the one thing I said was, if it's a mark in your hand or in your forehead, you're using this on your hand. Your hand is constantly getting this radiation into it all the time because you're constantly using this. And I said, what if oh, come on, don't start doing this to me now whenever I'm sitting here talking about it. Mother puss bucket. It's going away. I literally have a mark on my hand. It's fucking me up. It looks like a pin mark is what it does. It looks like a pin mark. That was gonna mess me up. But it, because these spend so much time in our hand, what if we somehow randomly start getting cancer in our hand? What if that's a possibility? That's messed up. Now, as far as a mark on your forehead, everybody's talking about the VR. Now, I'll tell you what, I used to have a pair of VR goggles. You can imagine what I used them for. I bought them from Toys R Us whenever Toys R Us was closing down. Got them for $5, I think. real cheap, super cheap. And every time I took them off, I had a mark on my forehead. You get that little line all the way across down here. You get that. Everybody's using VR. Makes you think. I threw out the goggles too. Actually, the goggles were the first thing I threw out because I was like, this is the lowest of the low. This is how low I can sink. So I got rid of those real quick. But makes you think. It just makes you think, especially the whole the cancer in your hand. It makes you think because the number is 666. And they call it the mark of the beast, but it's the mark of a man. Now the interesting thing is there's what were they saying, six proteins, six neutrons, six something. I don't remember what the friggin' hell it was that makes up a man, that makes up a DNA strand or something. I don't know what it was. And of course, the big thing now we're talking about is everything they're doing to us is changing our DNA. These things literally change your DNA. That's where cancer comes from, because it damages your DNA and then you get cancer. I really hope not. I think about it and I'm like, oh man, what if that's it? It's possible. It's very very possible. I don't know, because the way that this stuff works, it works so weird and it connects so weirdly that you're just like, man, man. I don't know. I don't know. That was my thought though. That's just been my thought on the whole thing, and I'm just like, boy, if I'm right on that, we're screwed. We're screwed because that's bad. That's really bad. The other literal ways they're literally talking. There was a movie that was that Riff Tracks did that they gave out these stickers. And these stickers were pyramids, and inside the pyramids were little 666, and it's just like, oh my god. And that could be possible. Hey, this whole New World Order thing could make you get this, or they could make you put it here. You never know. And then we come to the craziest of the craziest, which is the microchips, which at one point in time, and this is messed up. This is a true story, but I've changed my mind. I am allowed to change my mind. At one point in time, I said, wouldn't it be nice just to have some kind of microchip or something installed so we didn't have to worry about our keys and we didn't have to worry about our wallet and all this. I said this. I posted this on Facebook somewhere a long time ago, maybe MySpace. I think it was Facebook though. I think it was like one of those few times I did it because I had dropped my keys and I left my wallet in the house, and I was like, wouldn't it be nice if we could just have something where we could just, like a fingerprint reader or something, one of those types of deals. And I said that, and now that I look back on it, I'm like, you idiot, you didn't know. I didn't know. God forgives ignorance. I didn't know. So the big thing that everybody's talking about is getting the microchip. And man, there's a lot of people that are getting them too. From what I understand, Sweden is just lining up like it's candy. And there's a lot of people that say, oh no, because you're going to get it. And when you get it, it doesn't mean that it's a mark of anything. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be worshiping a beast. It doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean that. And it's not like it's going to be a literal mark of anything. And to that I say, ha ha ha, charade you are. I got my little paper here. This is something that I did write down in my old job. I may have even gone over this somewhere along the line. So I just listening because noises. So this is something that I did write down in my old job. I was listening to a couple videos. I had to look it up for myself because it was just I was just kind of like, I don't know if that means anything or not. But so I have gone. I do remember this. So the whole number of the beast, 666. You know what it is. So I was listening to this thing about these microchips that they put in your hand, and I was like, you know, it's an RFID chip. Okay, RFID. I don't even have it written down here. RFID. Do I? No. I'm going to do the math right now for you. Give me a. There we go. So, RFID. And you can do this with me if you want to keep up, just as a thing. So, R is what? And NOPQR is the. Is that right? 20. No. MNORPQR. Is that right? Okay, M is 13. I know M is at 13. MNOPQR. Right. So 13 is 18. 18. We'll go 18. Okay, now we know F is 6. I actually said that in my my Final Fantasy playthrough a little while ago. I is, oh God, F, G, H, I is a 9. D is a 4. Okay, so you have RFID 18694. All right, you ready for the magic? Here's where the magic comes in. So 18, 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, so now you have 9694. Now, it's an RF identification. It's radio frequency identification. So the ID doesn't mean anything. It's just identification. It's an RFI chip. So you can get rid of the 4 because it's just an RFI. That's all it is. They call it an RF chip, but it's RFI. So it's radio frequency identification. They just say RFID because, the ID part of it. So it's actually an RFI. So you have 1869. You have 969. Flip the 9s over. What do you have? You literally have 666. Man, it just okay. So I'm looking too far into it. Hey, I'm looking too far into it. Okay, no problem. I'm looking too far. I mean, that's some fair level conspiracy stuff. You hear some guy talking about that, you're talking like, man, you need to get out of your parents' basement. I need to get out of my girlfriend's basement. So it gets better. So I had to look this up for myself, and feel free to look this stuff up. Go look this up. The first model, which I think they might have new models now, but the first model of these chips, these RFID chips, was made from a company called Biohacks International. And it was the people that actually make it are NXP Semiconductors. This was the very first ones. They may have changed this. They may have completely revolutionized this by now. I don't really know. So the model number for these chips that they would put in your hand is NTAG216. That's NT as in tiger, TAG as in goal, 216. So it's very weird that the 216 part of this model number, 216 is 6 cubed. What is 6 cubed? 6 times 6 times 6. You need proof? I'll prove it to you. 6 times 6 times 6. Wait a minute. That's a 666. In tag 216 is 6 cubed. But wait, it gets worse. So the in tag, we can do something with the in tag too, believe it or not. So n is 14. This is the numbers, a letter. N is 14, T is 20, A is 1, and G is 7. Okay? So you have 14, 20, 1, and 7. Gematria. Here we go again. So you automatically have 2 6s right off the block. You have 14 and 20. You have a 4 and a 2. That's a 6. You have a 7 and a 1. 7 minus 1 is 6. Now, if you don't think this works this way, you don't have to think it works this way. But it's how they do it. It's the numbers. It's how these numbers work. Now, in tag doesn't have to mean anything because you've already got a 6 cubed on the back of this son of a bitch, and it boggles your mind. But wait, it gets worse. So, NXP Semiconductors are the people that made these things, the first people that made these things. Again, go check me out, man. Intag 216. I had to look it up and see it for myself before I could even spout this nonsense to anybody else. And when I saw Intag 216 as an actual thing for these little tiny, I was like, you gotta be shitting me. But it's there. It's out there. It may be suppressed by now. I mean, if it is, then I'm just a drooling idiot. But I can still prove that RFID equals up to 666. Anyways, NXP Semiconductors. You want to do gematria on NXP? Oh man, this is fun. This is a good one. So N is 14, X is 24, and P is 16. If you need to write it down, like I said, write it down. You got a 14, 24, and 16. So it's ridiculous. The 24 in the middle, the X, the 24, that's a 6. The 16, take the 6, you have the 1 remaining. The 14, 4 plus 1 is 5. You still have the 1 from the 16. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6. 6, 6. The number of the beast. That's NXP Semiconductors. I can't make this up. I honestly wish I could. Somebody somewhere may have made this up, but it's on the internet. The internet can't lie to you. Well, it can lie to you, but I don't know about I just there's too many weird things going on here. So anyways, I was like, well, man, this is mind-boggling. So but wait, it gets worse. Biohacks International. BIOHAX. Now, the numerology here is a little weird. The B is a 2, the I is a 9, the O is a 15, the H is an 8, the A is a 1, and the X is a 24. So we already know that we can do the 24 into a thing, the 9 for the I is a thing, the 15 becomes a 6. The 8 for H and A, the 1 for A is that's a 9. If you don't know where I'm going with this, then fine. The only problem with this is it leaves a 2, and I'm sure there's probably some other kind of numerical thing you could do with this to make it work. The 2 times a 9 is an 18. It fits. I mean, it works. So, that wasn't all. The guy that was talking about this, that was going over this, that led me to look into all this. He was also talking about the actual the hex numbers. Because every letter on a computer has a hex number, hex decimal. I don't know what the hell it's called. Um, and he was saying that even these have hex numbers to them. Um, the B, this is in hexadecimal. The B is 42. Just straight out of the gate. 42 is a 6. The I is a 69. Just straight out of the gates, you have a 666 with the B and the I, because you can flip that 9 over and it becomes a 6. It's getting better. Just wait. It's getting better. So the O is a 6F. In hexadecimal, the O is a 6F. We already talked about this. The F is a 6. It's the sixth letter of the alphabet. It's a 6. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sixes within bio. BIO. 66666. It's just nuts. So the H is a 68. Oh, well, see, there goes your whole thing. There's a 6 in there, though, but the A is a 61. Take 68, take the 8, take the 61, take the 1. 8 plus 1 is 6. 68, 61, 666. We go on. We got one more letter. There's an X. The X is 78. Well, there goes your whole thing right there. It's done. You can't do anything with it because, 78. So 7 times 8 is, 7 plus 8, not 7 times. You hear me? 7 times 8? What is 7 times 8? Was that 50? Oh, shit. Is it 56? Yeah, it's 56. It's a 13 if you add them together. No, 7 plus 8. 7 plus 8 is a 15. 5 plus 1 is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the Holy Trinity of sixes. There's 3 sets of 666 in here. On the hexadecimal numbers of biohacks, the people that had originally made the microchips for your hand. Biohacks. 666, 666, 666. How many coincidences does it take before you start thinking there's something going on? Because I've actually dreamed about this. I've dreamed about, or I've thought about it. What if I had somehow come across somebody that had said, well, I'm thinking about getting a chip, and I would say, well, maybe you shouldn't do it because have you ever heard about the mark of the beast? Have you ever heard about 666? And if they say, oh, that's just a wives' tale, that can't be real, and I'd be like, okay, that's fine, but can we talk about this for a second? And if they say yeah, sure, then I'll be like, okay, the first thing I want to ask you is how many coincidences would it take before you believed that something was going on? And then I'd go through this because what did I say? RFID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 different ways to look at this that you can pull out the mark of the beast or the number of the beast. Man, it's crazy. It's there was a point in my life where I finally stopped and said I don't believe in coincidences anymore because fate was just pulling me in ways that I just could not understand. And I finally just said, look, I can't believe in coincidences anymore because this is just, it's too weird. It melds together too much. So something has to be happening here. And this is all the proof I need right there. That's all I need. I don't need any more proof other than that because it's way too weird. It's just way too weird. I can't. There's nothing else I could say. There's nothing else I could say. When it comes to prophecy and it comes to things like this, um, you have these Noahide laws that are going to be changing laws. You have these whole things about changing times, which we've already said could be literal, maybe not be literal. We don't know, but they could be changing the festivals of God, which could be very easy for a world religion to be able to do this. They're removing the Ten Commandments away from our life, and they've enacted these Noahide laws. And then you have this currency system that needs to have some type of mark of the beast. No matter what that is, you know, these microchips are numbered. That's pretty messed up stuff. It's pretty messed up stuff, you know? What else can I say? I mean, what? This is what I was compelled to say today. This is just all that I've heard, and I looked it up, and I've put this together, and it boggles the mind. It absolutely boggles the mind. I have to stop. I've gone on for like an hour and a half. That's way longer than I wanted to make this video. But if at any point any part of this resonated with you at all, by all means, take a second and just pray to God. I know that sounds crazy. For somebody that doesn't want to hear that, that's like for someone that doesn't want to believe, that is literally like trying to that is almost literally like trying to tell them, you know, to go kill their mother. I've been there, man. I've been there. You don't have to believe me. And I've already said I've tried in every way, shape, or form to figure out the best way to tell people about this, because if it were me, I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't want to believe it because it just sounds nuts. It sounds crazy. When I say it like this, I really do sound insane. I really do. It just sounds nuts. I'm actually I'm sending myself a picture of this thing that I get. Now I am making sure that I don't ever lose this, because this is really important stuff to me. because all it is right now is just a post-it. It's just a little post-it note. You see it? Can you see it? Can you see? You see? There you go. See, that's the information I have right there. That's it. So you guys know I'm not screwing around here. This is what I wrote down. But I've taken pictures of this. I just emailed one of these to myself so that I have it. The Yahoo email carriers will probably intercept it and probably delete it for me. I've noticed that. I've noticed certain emails have disappeared from me. So it's like, well, and it's probably the same reason why I'm not getting any viewers, because probably shadow banned. I make posts on Facebook that I'm sure have gotten shadow banned too. I mean, what else can we do? We're if you don't see that they're trying their damnedest to keep people from hearing the truth, then again, you're probably enjoying this life, and it is what it is. And if you enjoy the life, hey, enjoy the life, man. Because I can't wake you up. You have to wake yourself up. And if you don't want to wake up, then you won't wake up. That's just all there is to it. You can't. If you don't want to wake up, if you can't wake up, you just can't wake up, because not everyone is supposed to wake up. Sorry. I'm sorry. I really am. I wish everybody could see this. I wish everybody could see it. That way everybody could know that we have a chance of turning it around. I think it's entirely possible, but I don't think that it's going to happen, because people just won't hear it. People don't want to hear it. They're too busy. They're too happy with their cell phones and their crappy jobs, and going out and getting blitzed on the weekend and having sex, and all the other nonsense. They're too happy. They're more than happy with the crap that they do, and their drugs, and they're happy with it. And if you're happy with it, go, man, go enjoy whatever you're gonna enjoy. I'm sorry. I wish you could see it the way I do, but if you can't, you can't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I can't. I don't want to be the guy that constantly apologizes for it. But I mean, what else can I do? So, anyways, I gotta get off here. We're gonna go to Children's Museum in the morning, so I'm gonna have me some fun with the kids. I love them. I love Angie's grave baby. I don't know if I get to. I don't know if I get to be called granddad yet. It's a little weird, but that baby has stolen my heart. She is so beautiful. She's so beautiful. She's so fun. She she recognizes me. That's the best part. That was the best part. We saw her today, and she and I have this thing where we stare at each other, because the very first time I ever met her, she was like, that's literally what she was doing to me. She's trying to figure me out. And so that's what I do to her. I'm like, and then it's like, slowly but surely she'll realize that I'm mocking her, and she'll smile and she'll laugh, and it's so great, and I love the shit out of her. She's so hilarious. And I know in the last video I did, I broke down crying because I was running a fever. I haven't really said anything about that yet, but yeah, I was sick. I was legit sick. I woke up the next day. I bet you I had a 100-degree fever. We don't know. We don't have a thermometer. But Angie said, you are so sick you can't get out of this bed, because my fever was so bad. I know I broke down crying. And I don't remember half of what I said, but I know it was crazy. So, it is what it is. But I love that little baby. She's great. She's awesome. So I'm going to go tomorrow, and I'm going to have some fun with the baby. So I got to get to sleep. But man, I just want to try to help as much as I can. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you guys. If you don't want to hear it, I can't. You're just not going to hear it. It is what it is. I I don't know what else to say. I really don't. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying to figure out the best way I can tell this stuff to you guys, but it is what it is. So, anyways, I've been Nicodemus Kane. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. Um, I think every time I say that I owe Richie from Boston like $1 or something because I stole it from him. But um, until next time, I wish you all well in all your future endeavors, and I hope that the world lasts for you. God bless. Take care. Save often. Seriously, save often. Seriously though, guys, God bless you all. You know, try to be good people. I'm turning off my PlayStation as I'm doing this. You know, just be good. If you have a problem, pray. Just pray to God. Even if you don't believe, just kind of just stop and just say, "All right, God, just talk to me." Or don't even say God. Just ask the Spirit to talk to you. Don't ask any spirit to talk to you. Ask the Holy Spirit to talk to you. That probably came out wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it came out wrong. Lord, if it came out wrong, forgive me. I am sorry. I don't have anything else to say. I gotta go to bed. You guys take care. Love you guys. Just if it resonated with you, go take some time. Go read into it. If it doesn't, then then I don't know what else to tell you. You just go enjoy life, man. Enjoy life because it is what it is for you. This is what it is for me. It is what it is for you. So you guys take care and stay safe. Be ready.